AJ Brown, Eagles in particular, but Jalen Hurts, I know you hit me up today, about this Jalen Hurts thing, man. I want to hear what you I want to hear what you saying, what you think about this before I say anything.
Well, I mean,
When
have you heard anything? Have you heard any of the reports, any of the uh like outtakes or any of the quotes coming from the report that was put out yesterday?
no, really, all I heard was that Jalen is not a team player.
Hmm.
He rubs people the wrong way in the locker room. He kind of, he goes rogue, kind of changing the plays. Making, doing,
Yeah.
making calls. Obviously, him and AJ are not as close as they used to be when.
Right.
So it's like, so they're putting the narrative out that he's not a team player. I think this is a setup. I think this is a setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So,
can win the Super Bowl. You can win the Super Bowl and this happening to you. Anyway, you go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, and not only that, like you win the Super Bowl, you won Super Bowl MVP, right? And then
Yeah.
even the Super Bowl that you played in before that, where you lost, one can make, a case that he was the best player in that game as well. Like
Right.
he would have
Right.
won MVP had
Yeah.
they won, right?
Right.
He's not a big time, like he's not a regular season guy, but his play in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, I mean, it speaks for themselves.
Yep.
He's the type of
Yep.
quarterback you want to have come postseason. Now,
Absolutely.
going to into this report, it was Jeremy Fowler from ESPN, right? He was the one to put
Damn
out
fine.
this report, and I mean, this is a in-depth. I mean, they go in,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And let me see. I'm gonna read to you the first excerpt, like the first couple of paragraphs from it, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he goes in. It starts, well, this is like starting from the second paragraph, right? So he goes, scanning the play sheet. Quarterback Jalen Hurts standing in front of him, leaning in to speak to his play caller. Nick Sirianni is nearby, listening to the chatter. A few assistants in the backup, Tanner McKee, they were within earshot, right?
Yeah.
That's the second paragraph.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna skip, right? Because or I'm just gonna ad lib because this is pretty long. But basically, in a nutshell, right? What they're saying. Hold on one second. Let me do this. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could cut it from here. All right. I'm gonna get back
Yeah. Yeah.
into it. All right. But
Yeah.
in a nutshell, the so going back to the Jeremy Fowler report. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, what they were saying on that in that game against the 49ers last year, right, in the playoff game. Remember the
Mm-hmm.
last play, 43 seconds left. They're trying to come up with a
That's
play,
great. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what they're saying is that Petullo was trying to figure out, okay, what play are we going to call?
Right.
And he's asking Jalen Hurts for his input. And
Right.
basically, he's telling Jalen Hurts he wants to run a certain play, and that Jalen Hurts was the one that advocated for the four verts play, the four vertical
The
play,
four verts.
right?
Mm.
The
Yeah.
play that they just ran. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Sirianni there, he's listening to this, but he has no input on what the play is going to be whatsoever,
Right. Yeah.
right? This
Yeah.
this is the offensive minded head coach that you guys got, right? So
Yeah.
this is what and so what they're saying is that that play was on Jalen. Jalen was the
Yeah.
one that called the play, and why the play didn't work was because, of course, you all ran that play a couple of times before in that game, and the 49ers was ready for it.
Yeah.
My issue with that, Links, is that why are you letting the quarterback call the play? If you
Exactly.
feel as if that play is not the right play for that situation, knowing that you
Yeah.
already ran it, knowing that the 49ers are probably going to be prepared for it because they've already seen it just a couple of plays ago, you as the offensive coordinator, and better yet, you as the head coach, have said, no, we're not going to run
No.
that play. We got to run
Right.
something else. But what you're trying to tell us in this report is that
Hmm.
Jalen was the one that wanted that play, and therefore they had to run it because that's what Jalen wanted. Both head coach and offensive coordinator, like it's insinuating in the report that they weren't on board with the play.
Come on, man.
Okay, it
I
just
can't
doesn't
believe
make
it.
it doesn't make any sense, and
Yeah.
it goes in and more like situations and examples of basically putting all of the onus, all of the
Yeah.
issues, all of the blame on Jalen Hurts. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to evolve the playbook. He doesn't want to take snaps from under center. They're even saying that Jalen Hurts is the one that doesn't want motions in the offense,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, look, okay, if you got a quarterback and you think if this quarterback is such a impediment towards your offense evolving, I don't care
Right.
what that quarterback has done in the past. At some point, either you put your foot down and say, look, this is what we got to do, like it or not, or you find
Right.
yourself a quarterback that can evolve with the playbook. Okay?
Absolutely. Yep.
Just a couple of years ago, that's what the Rams did with Jared Goff,
Yep. Yep.
right?
That's true.
Jared Goff was,
That's true.
we just gave him and this was just one season after making him the highest paid quarterback in the league.
There you go.
Okay.
There you
So, I
go.
mean,
Yeah.
there's no excuse for this. There's no
No.
excuse for this
No.
other than maybe it's not as truthful as the report is lending it to be. But
Yeah.
it's almost as if
Yeah.
they're trying to save face with Kevin Patullo and Sirianni, even though Kevin Patullo is no longer
Yeah.
there. And on top
Right.
of that, they're citing sources from the team who
Mhm.
unnamed, right?
Yes.
They don't want
Yes.
they don't want to stamp their signature on whatever the quotes are. So these
Right.
are unsourced, right,
Hmm.
accounts of what is happening within the Eagles organization.
Yeah.
But I have the feeling that, look, these coaches know there's not a lot of wiggle room this season. If this season starts off
Hmm.
bad, Sirianni is out.
Right.
And if Sirianni is out,
Yeah.
that whole coaching staff is gone too. So
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
these
Yep.
guys are like, look, it's either Jalen or us.
That's it.
It's
That's
either
it.
Jalen
That's
or us. That's what I got out of this
that's it.
report because it's both
Yeah.
for it to come out now at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. And I saw it with them talking about it's an anonymous source. It's, like you say, stand on it, man. If you coming out,
Yeah.
come out. Come stand on it. Let's talk about this because how could you say um this guy who and then look at it like this. This is the sixth offensive coordinator he's had since he's been on the Eagles, right? So if he was saying, say he let's just play this a little bit. Say he was saying, hey, this is this the sixth offensive coordinator.
Mm.
Hey, let's not introduce this because this might be too much for me, or this might, or whatever. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. Where as a quarterback, you need to be able to pick it up, right? However, if you got six different OCs in the matter in the span of 5 years that you've been with the team, I mean, you switching every year. It's something different every year. And I agree. Nick Sirianni is, I believe that he and Jalen Hurts, they have a good relationship. It's the coaching staff. Nick Sirianni knows that he's on the hot seat, but it's some of the guys on the coaching staff that's leaking this out. Like you said, that don't want. Yeah, obviously they don't want to lose their job. They want to keep their job, and that is so true. And you know, if you ask any of the players, everybody know AJ and Jalen used to be best friends. But hey,
Yeah.
it happens. You go in different ways, and it's just not like that. But I don't think they hate each other. I don't think it's to the point where they like, I can't stand this dude. They could play together. You could pass me the ball, I could catch it, et cetera, et cetera. I think this all stemmed from Kevin Patullo's offense. Kevin Patullo's offense sucked. Sirianni, your offense sucked. You guys didn't have a good offense every single time. I mean, the pattern speaks for itself. So you can't throw this on Jalen now. The pattern speaks for itself. When you were in charge of the offense, Sirianni and coaches, Patullo, it sucked. When Brian Johnson was there, it sucked. Then you brought in Kellen Moore. What happened? You go to the Super Bowl. You win the Super Bowl. Now again, you try to try to take things over again, and what happened? You suck because you don't have an efficient offense. I don't care what quarterback you would have put in this Eagles offense. With them calling the plays, it was going to be the exact same thing. And really, on that play in question, I know they got a lot. They got a lot what they're talking about on that play. But if you look at the replay, Jalen Hurts jogs over. Nick Sirianni is like an air shot. He's not really in the conversation. Him and Kevin Patullo is talking, and Kevin Patullo is actually, kind of pointing out da 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 da. And Jalen Hurts, if you look, because I watched this I watched this so many times. Jalen Hurts kind of looked like, what? Like, huh?
Right.
You know,
Like
gave
that don't
that
make
kind
any
of look,
sense. Yeah.
like, huh? And then he say, and then just jog back out, and he called a play.
Right.
So this is a little fishy. These guys are literally coaching or trying to throw Jalen Hurts under the bus. And like you said, why does that have to come out like right now? Okay, at this particular moment in time, it had to come out right now. Yeah, it smelled a little fishy for me.
Hey,
I it don't make sense.
so the article says one team source recall again, right? They can't
Yeah,
no name on the source, right?
no name. Right.
Anonymous source says Hertz
Yeah,
was the one who recommended for Hertz. A
no,
separate
I don't
source
believe
with
that.
knowledge of the situation says that though the Eagles quarterback did suggest it, he was simply responding to a question about his preferences.
Exactly.
Right.
So Patullo said, "You want to run four verts?" And he was like, "What?" He's like, "All right. I mean, whatever. You the OC. I mean, call it whatever you call it. I'm just gonna run it." And I think that's where AJ and Jalen got sideways, because AJ was saying, "Bro, this ain't gonna work. These
Hmm.
plays are not gonna work." And Jalen
Right.
and Jalen was like, "Hey man, if they call him, I just gotta run him. That's it."
Well,
So
the report goes in as well to say that not in this situation, but in many other situations, because they said it's been a considerable amount where he would change the plays at the line of scrimmage to
yeah,
plays that weren't even installed. Right now,
yeah,
I don't know, Links. Right, like
yeah,
I don't care who
yeah,
you are. Right,
yeah,
if you got a if you have a quarterback that's routinely changing your plays,
right.
okay, at some point you're gonna see some contention on the sideline between the play caller and that quarterback,
Absolutely, absolutely,
the head coach and that
absolutely.
quarterback. Like someone is gonna have to
Yes,
gonna start having words with you, and you're gonna see that spill
yes,
over. Okay,
yes,
like I don't
yes.
see any coordinator worth their salt just taking that and like, okay, that's yeah, we cool,
Right.
right?
Yeah. No.
Over an extended
No.
period of time. But
Right.
that
I agree.
that's what they insinuate. They're insinuating that he's continuously changing plays. He doesn't want to take snaps on the center. He doesn't want to implement motion in the offense. He doesn't want to turn his back to the defense. So therefore, no play action. They putting it all on
Mm-mm.
Hurts.
No.
I don't
You
believe
know
it.
why I know this
I
is,
don't believe it.
you know why I noticed that this is false? Because they just asked Jalen Hurts, "Hey, what do you think about Sean Mannion?" He's like, it was like his eyes lit up. He was like, "I love this guy." He's like, "I love what he's bringing." So what does that mean? I
Right.
love what he's bringing. This is fresh. This is new. I like how he thinks. These are the words that Jalen Hurts was using. For
Right.
somebody who didn't want to do these things, that don't even make sense. That don't even compute. That don't compute. What he didn't want to do was run that dumb offense that they had, um, uh, with Nick Sirianni and Patullo them had. But yeah, I don't agree with that, man. I mean, it's these anonymous sources just need to step up, stop all that.
They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I
They're
know,
not
I
gonna do
know,
that.
I know.
But I
Yeah,
think at this point, I think what's your owner's name?
yeah, yeah. Jeffrey Lurie.
Lurie.
Yeah,
I think Jeffrey Lurie, he would side more with Hurts in this situation than any of
absolutely,
those coaches. So if he
absolutely.
has to make a
Yeah,
choice, it's
yeah.
he's gonna keep they're gonna keep Hurts.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I think he knows right now. I mean, they both know, and Sirianni knows he's coaching on the hot seat right now.
Yeah,
And I think it's inevitable for Sirianni this year. I think no matter, the only thing that could save Sirianni is if the Eagles win the Super Bowl for another year. That's really the only thing. If anything short of that, Sirianni gone. I think regardless, he's gone anyway.
yeah.
If you don't win the Super Bowl, so yeah. Um, so what's going on with Puka, man? What's going on with Puka? So I know
She,
it's a couple different things. The
uh,
thing that I heard, but you got something different. The thing that I heard was like some anti-Semitism. He bit this lady or whatever it was, and it was some you know. Is this out of character for Puka Nakua, or he got something going on? Has he always had these kind of issues in college, or is this something now that's trending in the NFL where I don't know. I really don't know on a personal level. Like I don't know from a fan standpoint on that personal level. I just see him in the game. That's really it.
no, I don't know of Puka Nakua to have a history of some of the antics we've been seeing over the past 2 years or 18 months. How because it's been everything has kind of been within this short period of time, dating back to the middle of the season when he was talking to some podcasters and they tricked him into doing this anti-Semitic gesture, right, with the rubbing of the
Yeah,
hands
yeah.
and stuff like that. When you watch it, you can tell Puka doesn't know what he's doing,
He didn't even know
right?
what he was doing.
He
Right?
di- he
Yeah,
didn't even he
yeah.
really did, and I'm not advocating for. I'm not trying to make an excuse for him. It's like it's
Right,
literally them saying, "Hey, when you score a touchdown, can you, because of your affinity towards us, as a shout out to us,
right.
can you do this gesture?" Right? And
Yeah,
they did the
yeah,
gesture, and then he did the gesture, and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, do that. You're gonna do that on camera." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. Shout out to you guys. That's cool." That's
yeah,
what that was about. And then it blew up
yeah,
into
yeah.
him, doing this anti-Semitic thing. And now with this situation, what you just called out, some a lady said that it was at a New Year's Eve, right, party. So now this is dating
Mhm.
back what, like going on 4 months almost, right, or just
Yeah,
about
yeah, mhm,
no,
yeah,
3 months ago,
yeah,
and
yeah,
saying that during the party, like he bit her enough to leave a print on her shoulder, right? Didn't no bleeding, no breaking of the flesh, but just like a bite mark. And then they said he said something anti-Semitic, has not been corroborated. Nobody else is eyewitness or ear witness to any of this stuff. But she filed a lawsuit. about it, and then also had to wanted to file a restraining order, and that got knocked down. Like there was no need for a restraining order. Like what you doing that for, right?
Right.
And so that was that. And now what just broke just yesterday is that he admitted himself into a rehab facility.
Mm.
My understanding
Yeah.
is that it's not necessarily for anything um, like you know, no not like substance related.
Right.
But I think it's been acknowledged or brought to his attention, like, look, you messing up. Okay.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
not that you are intentionally trying to do anything to sabotage your career, but you're putting yourself in situations that you otherwise don't need to put yourself in, that
Yeah.
will
Agree.
that will give people an opportunity to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And you need to
Hmm.
start maneuvering yourself in a bit, a little bit more smartly. Did you need to go to that party? Did you need to be,
Right.
because he was intoxicated at that party. I mean, it was a New
Yeah.
Year's Eve party, so a lot of people are drinking and having fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what he was
Yeah.
doing. But when you're on the cusp of possibly being the highest paid wide receiver in the league after having the season
Hmm.
that you had, you need to start, like, you know, JSN. Like you don't hear nothing about him in the news.
No. No.
You
No.
got to be
No.
quiet. You got to be
Yeah.
quiet. You got to be smart. You got to wrap yourself around, like you have to surround yourself with people that you can actually trust and people who actually have your best interest at heart. And
Right.
that's going to be a very fine, like small, finite amount of people. And he's
Yep.
just exposing himself and lending himself to too many and people who just want to use him and take advantage of him. And I think McVay, the Rams, they're like, dude, you need to fix this. We want to give you this money. We want to, but we have to trust you. And right now, we don't trust you, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right. Yeah.
if you want to take your career to the next level, if you want to get that financial security that you've worked hard for up until this point, you got to show a level of maturity that you otherwise aren't showing right now.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think part of this too, to be honest with you, Fred Warner, right? Fred Warner and is very close with Nakua,
Yeah.
and Fred Warner's had
Yeah.
a pretty squeaky clean, right, career up until this point.
Yeah.
And I'm just speculating here, but I think Fred Warner had probably had some words with him as well to say, like, look, you need to fix it. You need to get right, and you
Mhm.
need to show people that you're actually trying to get right. And I think that's what this
Yeah.
whole thing is about with the rehab facility.
Yeah. That makes sense because I did see a clip. I think it was over Christmas, going into New Year's and whatnot,
Hmm.
where he was like really intoxicated.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw that circling around, and when you brought that up, I remember that. And yeah, I think for him, he's a young dude, just getting caught up in this lifestyle and whatnot,
Yeah.
and just like you say, hanging around with some folks that you don't need to be out. You just need to do your thing and just stay low key. I agree because you know that is true. When you got the opportunity to make the amount of money that you're gonna make, coming up, you can't jeopardize that. One question I got for you is: do you think? I know they were kind of, you know, the Rams were sort of in the AJ Brown sweepstakes, sort of in the AJ Brown sweepstakes. Do you think they were putting it out there to show Puka Nakua, hey, look, we could send you, or you know, I don't know, but I know they were out there. They were out there looking, but um, you think they would have actually dealt Puka Nakua if they could have got AJ Brown, or was it going to be more Devontae Adams?
I think it was definitely going to be Devonte Adams. So then Puka Nakua, even with all of this, noise that's circulating, he's still untouchable. They're not going to get rid of him. I
Yeah,
guarantee you.
yeah,
And I mean, let me know what you think about this, right? If I mean, seeing
yeah,
with the state of affairs as it is in Philly, with AJ
yeah.
Brown, you can tell that he's totally disinterested right now. What's going on with the coaching staff?
Hmm.
There seems to be a schism between him and Jalen Hurts. You think if the Rams
Yeah.
propose to trade Puka Nakua for AJ Brown and whatever other draft incentives that you want to put out there, you don't think the Eagles would have jumped on that?
Yeah, they would have jumped on that a long time ago. Yeah,
Yeah, they would have
they
jumped on that.
definitely would. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
Um,
but no, he wasn't part of that deal. He wasn't part of that those
right,
conversations.
right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I just think with Puka man, he's he right on the cusp. You just need to, like you said, Fred Warner is a guy, and I think I want to say I'm not sure. I think Fred Warner is a Christian. I think I Fred Warner. No, it may not be Fred Warner. I don't think it's Fred Warner. It's somebody else I'm thinking about. But anyway, um, I know that they are close, right? And so I think he's already been through the ropes, been through all that, got the big contract and all that stuff like that, and probably just kind of they went to the same school, right? Did they
No,
go to
the,
the same
the, the
school?
connection with Fred Warner and Puka, Fred Warner played college ball with Puka's older brother,
Oh, okay,
right?
I got you.
Right.
So
So
he like a
and
little brother
that's
to him, yeah.
so he's like a little brother to him. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he kind of pull him under his wing a little bit and kind of,
Hmm.
But yeah, that makes sense, man. I hope the best for him to get in there and really kind of, get himself squared away so he could
Yeah.
do what he need to do, man. Very talented, extremely talented receiver, and you see what JSN, like you said, you see what JSN just garnered. So it's only gonna be getting bigger. So
Right.
just yeah, yeah. Is he? How many years? Is it next year that he could get the contract, or
Next
or
year. Yeah.
next year? Oh,
Yeah.
come on, man. Yeah, you're
Yeah. I
right
mean,
there.
but I mean, when you look at JSN, he still had a year left on his rookie contract too,
Okay, okay, yeah. So they
right?
they did it ahead of
So I
time.
mean,
That's smart.
exactly,
That's smart.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. All right. Boy, Kirk Cousins, man. So I saw the report come across Kirk Cousins, to the Raiders, and he'll be a good um, backup or starter, and then eventually, take the back seat to the rookie, which will be again the same situation in Atlanta for him,
Yeah.
where he took the back seat to a rookie or a second year play. I mean, with Penix. Um, the money, I didn't see. You mentioned the money. I didn't see the contract for the money, man. Talk. What are
Yeah.
you what are you talking?
At face value, it's a 5 year, $172 million contract. The first year is guaranteed. So the first year, 20 million, that's the guaranteed money. Raiders after that 1 year, they could do whatever they want, right?
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
really the part you really need to concentrate on is that 1 year, 20 million. But when you
yeah,
look at it, man, like Kirk Cousin, his agent needs to go into the Hall of Fame, man. Like the
yeah,
amount
yeah.
of money that he has
Yes,
made over his
yes.
career. I think somewhere close to 370 some odd $1 million, something like
Wow,
that.
wow.
It
Yeah,
For a
that's
guy
crazy.
that never sniffed the Super Bowl,
Never sniff, never
never sniffed
sniff.
the Super Bowl. Yeah,
That's crazy, man.
yeah,
How you right, man. His agent definitely needs to go down in the Hall of Fame as one of the best, greatest agents ever because you have a client that I mean he's been a journeyman as a quarterback. He's in Washington for a long time. Backing up RG3, and he's gone a couple places, and the contracts is just it's just ridiculous. That one with Atlanta. I mean, I think Atlanta still got to be paying him, right? I mean, they still going to be paying him something off of that
yeah,
contract,
yeah. I think.
and then he get and then
I,
and then this. That's crazy. I mean,
yeah, I need to look. I need
his
to look at the Atlanta deal and see if he was outside of the guaranteed window.
yeah.
First, we need to check that out to see. That might be the
He
case.
might have been out. Yeah.
Yeah, he might have been out that guaranteed window.
But regardless, man, I mean, Kirk Cousins is look. I think he will. Obviously we everyone's leaning towards Fernando Mendoza going there with the first pick, the Raiders, right? And
Yep,
if he does, I think it was a smart move for the Raiders actually,
it
with
is.
Kirk Cousins. because hey, he's serviceable. You know, he's a smart guy. He can to help a rookie come along, because once they get in there, and after the draft, and you go into mini camps and you go into all these camps, and they get a feel for what Mendoza can do. Can he pick it up quickly, et cetera, et cetera? And if he's not ready, no big deal. We got
Yep.
Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins
Yep.
can come in and play mid-season. If Mendoza's ready, then he could take over. So smart. That's a smart move by the Raiders. I couldn't say that too many times. Raiders making smart moves, but I think this one makes sense for Kirk Cousins, man. I mean, I thought he was gonna land with your Rams, but I guess you know the money was right, man. You got to go where the money is.
Yeah, Kurt, he fall on the money. McVay wanted him. McVay, he
Yeah,
actually, called him out a couple of times during some interviews in Arizona when they were doing the owners meeting in Arizona, and you could tell McVay wanted to try to get Kurt in LA, but
yeah,
LA isn't going to pay that kind of money. Rams are not
no,
going to pay that kind of money for Kurt. No,
no,
that
no,
wasn't going to happen. So
yeah,
Kurt, he fall in
yeah.
the dollars, man. You can't be mad at him for that.
No, and check this out. This is a good point too. Um, Matthew Stafford, he's not
Hmm.
going to start. Okay, so he'll never start in Los Angeles, but he has a chance of starting with the Raiders because you picking a rookie. So I guess, and that had to do a lot with it too, because they picking the rookie. If the rookie isn't jumping off the page and like ready to go, he got the opportunity to start. So
He has an opportunity to start.
that
I mean, and it's still a slim opportunity because I still think Mendoza's he's gonna be the starter. Like if
yeah,
unless he
yeah,
just really is like green coming in and
yeah,
don't know
yeah, yeah,
what's going on. Um,
yeah,
but I see Mendoza starting. Okay.
yeah,
But with Kirk, even, let's say Kirk did start.
yeah.
Okay, he wasn't gonna finish the season.
That's
I
right.
don't I don't see I
Yeah,
don't see any I don't see
yeah,
him actually. If you're gonna pick a quarterback
yeah,
first overall, right?
yeah,
At some
yeah.
point he's gonna play that
Oh yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
Kurt has to understand that. He has to know that. I don't think the
Hmm.
starting was a big determining factor in this decision. I think
Yeah,
it all had to do with the money.
the money. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
again, I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad.
No, no, you can't.
That's some dollars.
Yeah, can't be mad at it at all.
Kurt, what they call him, Kurt Two Chains? They don't call him Kurt Two Chains for nothing, buddy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, oh man. Yeah, it's interesting, man. What's going on in the league.
Yeah.
It's when the draft coming up, right? The draft is
April
coming up
23rd. April 23rd.
23rd. Okay.
3 weeks from
All right.
now. Three,
Yep.
3 weeks from today.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. 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 So
Yep.
we'll be live for that first round, man. That's gonna be
Yep.
interesting. I think it's gonna be a lot of shocks in that first round. I think
I think
it's gonna
so.
be some. I think it's gonna be some movement in that first round.
I think so.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah, we're gonna be in for some trades happening, and some teams moving up and jumping over some other teams. So um, I'm ready for that. We'll see what happens comes out of the with the hold up with the refs coming up with the CBA, their collective bargaining agreement, and then if push come to shove, we'll also see you know some rule changes and stuff like that. I know they've been talking about this, seeing what they're gonna enhance or take away or keep or whatever in these league meetings, owners meetings. So we don't
They
know. We
they
don't know
they
what to
they still
expect.
they still trying to get rid of the tush push. Is that even
No man,
a
they
topic of
don't even say
conversation anymore?
anything about that no
They ain't
more.
care about that no more.
No, they don't care about that, man. We know how to stop that now. We ain't worrying about that no more,
Oh
man.
man. Oh
That's
man,
old
that's
news.
crazy.
That's old news. Yeah, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, man.
All right. Okay.
Yep, yep.
Couple of days. Catch you
We'll
later.
catch up on the next one. All right,
All
then.
right.